At 6:12 in the morning, 10 municipal garbage trucks rolled in formation up my gravel road like a diesel-powered parade. Air brakes hissed, gulls circled overhead like paparazzi, and a woman in a lemon-yellow visor raised a megaphone to her lips. "This is what happens if you don't cooperate," she shouted. The drivers tipped their beds and an avalanche of bagged trash thundered onto my pasture. Banana peels, IKEA instructions that looked like they came from a divorce, a single bowling shoe. My longhorn cow watched the whole scene, looking completely scandalized. I stood there barefoot on the porch, holding a mug that said "World's Quietest Man." My name is Wyatt Calder. I bought 40 acres out in Iron Mesa Ranch Estates because I like the sound of wind in the mesquite trees, not the sound of committees arguing about mailbox colors. I raise fences, mend tack, stack hay bales in the barn, and mostly keep to myself. I thought that would be enough. I thought wrong. That's when I met Jolene Burbank, HOA president and part-time menace to anyone who values peace and quiet. Jolene runs the Coyote Mesa HOA with the fervor of a middle manager who discovered the word bylaw at a wine tasting and decided to make it her entire personality. She carries a 3-ring binder everywhere she goes, tabbed and color-coded, filled with violations she's documented from everyone in the neighborhood. According to Jolene, my split-rail fence is a rustic affront to modern aesthetics, my barn shade of red is too aggressive and clashes with the desert palette, and my windmill is spinning without board approval in violation of Section 12 subsection C. She said all of this with the confidence of someone who has never been wrong in her entire life and doesn't plan to start now. It started small, the way these things always do. $50 fines for what she called unharmonious livestock acoustics, which apparently meant my longhorn cow mooed at 6 in the morning. A decor standards seminar scheduled for 7 in the morning on Sundays. Mandatory attendance required. Jolene photographed my property from the public easement with a drone she had personally named Policy. She'd even put a little name tag on it. On the neighborhood app, she claimed I was constructing a rogue rodeo arena without permits and harboring undocumented chickens that violated the approved poultry guidelines. When I politely declined to repaint my perfectly good barn in what she called approved desert taupe from the official HOA color palette, she posted a countdown with a red digital clock emoji on every community board. Cooperation clock, 10 days. It read in 72-point font. Day 9 arrived like a bad omen. I woke to a notice taped to my gate with enough packing tape to seal a shipping crate. It read mandatory waste compliance audit in official-looking government font. I called the county office to ask what that meant. The woman on the phone actually laughed out loud and told me that's not a real thing. "Sir, someone is messing with you." I explained about Jolene and she laughed even harder. Jolene doubled down with a barrage of emails featuring official-looking clip art of eagles and gavels, scarlet banners that looked like they came from a 4th of July sale, and messages written entirely in capital letters. "If you will not comply, we will comply for you," she wrote in bold Comic Sans, which somehow made it even more threatening. Then came the convoy, and with it, the point of no return. 10 garbage trucks contracted by a private hauler Jolene had sweet-talked with HOA funds and a forged county partnership letter she created on her home computer. The letter had an official-looking seal and everything. They rumbled onto my land at dawn, diesel engines roaring, tore up the caliche surface I'd spent 2 summers smoothing out, and dumped entire loads of garbage right where I hand-feed my skittish heifer every morning. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and filmed everything. Every truck, every bag, every moment of this insanity. One bag split open on impact and out spilled a neon pile of automotive solvents in containers marked hazardous waste, along with labeled receipts and invoices from Burbank Tire and Lube, which I happen to know belonged to Jolene's brother Marcus. The wind carried the chemical smell through the air like expensive perfume gone horribly wrong. My eyes started watering from 20 feet away. I called the sheriff's office and told them I needed deputies immediately. By the time they arrived, lights flashing down my gravel road, Jolene had set up a folding lectern like she was giving a presidential address. She was reading what she called a proclamation about community standards remediation. She had printed it on thick cream-colored paper with a gold foil seal that caught the morning sun. A deputy named Rodriguez squinted at the seal and tilted his head like a confused dog. "Ma'am," he said slowly, his voice full of barely contained disbelief, "that's a clip art eagle wearing sunglasses." The sheriff took one look at the situation and immediately called in the State Environmental Agency and the Department of Transportation. Those trucks had rolled over a weight-restricted county bridge that was clearly marked with signs saying no vehicles over 15 tons. Each loaded garbage truck weighed about 30 tons. The hauler, a man named Dennis with a receding hairline and a nervous twitch, started sweating through his shirt and panicking. His drivers started finger-pointing and pulling out paperwork, waving a contract signed by J. Burbank, acting county liaison. The county, of course, had no such position. Meanwhile, my quiet stack of evidence kept growing like a well-tended garden. Drone footage showing the whole operation from above, email chains where Jolene explicitly threatened to take action against my property, the receipt bouquet from the toxic trash piñata that implicated her family business. The county attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia Chen, showed up in boots too polished for the dust and carrying a leather briefcase. She surveyed the damage with the practiced eye of someone who'd seen it all. She asked if I'd like to press charges for criminal trespass, illegal dumping, environmental endangerment, and fraud. I told her I'd like to do exactly that and also continue drinking my coffee in peace while she handled the paperwork. Town hall night arrived like a storm everyone saw coming from miles away. The community center was packed with every resident who'd ever received one of Jolene's violation notices, which was basically everyone. The projector displayed Jolene's emails on a screen the size of a garage door, and the whole room could read her words in stunning high definition. Her masterpiece email appeared first, the one that read "Fear of penalties is a great motivator!" Triple exclamation point actually. Let the trucks be the lesson. The audience groaned in unison, like a pipe organ of disappointment playing the saddest note imaginable. Some people covered their faces with their hands. The environmental investigator, a tired-looking man in a state jacket, clicked to the next slide showing hazardous waste traced directly to Burbank Tire and Lube. The chemicals had been mixed in with household trash to dodge proper disposal fees, which was illegal at both the state and federal level. Someone in the back row whispered "Oh my God" loud enough for everyone to hear. Another person said that's illegal dumping, and a third person added "and fraud," to which someone else replied "and endangerment." It was like watching a choir reach a terrible consensus. The HOA board looked at each other with the expressions of people realizing they'd been riding in a car with a drunk driver. The board voted Jolene out on the spot, right there in front of everyone. The vote was unanimous, 8-0, with one abstention from Jolene herself, who sat there with her arms crossed and her face getting redder by the second. The hauler's owner Dennis, now sweating completely through his BOLO tie and looking like he might pass out, agreed to a consent order. He would pay for complete remediation of my property, regrade my torn-up pasture back to its original condition, and fund a new bridge deck for the county to replace the one his trucks had damaged. The bill came to $47,000 and change. The judge, who turned out to be a ranch kid himself with a long memory for people who broke rules that mattered, added what he called a garnish to the sentence. Jolene would spend 6 months, every Saturday morning, leading a roadside cleanup crew in a bright orange safety vest. The front of the vest would read "Illegal dumping isn't policy" in bold black letters 3 inches tall. The back would read "Ask me about consequences" in the same font. The court also ordered the HOA into immediate receivership and demanded a full financial audit that would be conducted like a crime scene investigation, with forensic accountants and everything. Jolene stood up so fast her chair fell backward. Her face went from pale to red to a shade of purple I didn't know existed on living people. "That's not fair," she shouted, her voice cracking. "I was protecting property values." The judge looked at her over his reading glasses with the expression of a man who had heard every excuse in the book twice. "Ms. Burbank," he said calmly, "you committed fraud, endangered public health, and illegally dumped hazardous waste on private property. You're lucky you're not facing criminal charges. The fine is $50,000, 6 months of supervised community service, and permanent removal from any HOA board in this state." Jolene opened her mouth, but nothing came out except a sound like a tire losing air.